Hi, and welcome to the Mortgage Broker Broadcast. This is the first podcast of 2022, so I hope everybody had a fantastic Christmas, had a great break, and a Happy New Year to all our listeners and subscribers. Like I said, this is the first podcast of 2022, and with it being the first podcast of the year, we decided to change things up a little bit. The actual host this week is none other than podcast legend Mr. Ash Borland. The host is me, Craig Skelton. The reason why we've changed things up a little bit this week is that we've had quite a lot of comments and feedback about we hear people on the podcast hear about their journey, their experiences, but they wanted to hear me on the other side of the mic, which I don't know why, because I'm not keen on the sound of my own voice. However, yep, I was sort of agreed to do that. I thought to myself, who better than to host the podcast than Ash Borland? So yeah, that's what's happening. I'm the other side of the mic. I'm the guest. Ash is the host. Here goes.
All right, there you go. See, I've took control as soon as he's pressed live, which is good.
It is good. I'm taking your word for it, Ash. You feel a little bit nervous.
You will be nervous. This is like where I take over and say, "Now, everybody, come to my podcast." And the voice, no.
It's a little bit unnerving. I'll be fine.
I can feel it. It's letting go of control, mate, and saying, "There you go, fly."
Feels very strange, but I'm in your hands. I'm in your capable hands, Ash.
Absolutely fine. So just to give the listeners a bit of an intro to what we're doing here. Obviously, you've introduced it, I'm sure, at the beginning of the show, but just so we know, Craig, Craig's been on my show, and I just wanted to interview him on your show so that you guys can actually get to know a little bit more about Craig. Because I don't know if you find this, mate. I know as a podcaster, when I spend all my time talking to other people, a lot of the time the listeners actually don't know much about me. Do you feel that's the same thing?
That's exactly the same. And that's how this whole thing started, because it was people were reaching out to me and like sort of saying, "These great, what podcasts have you been on? Where do we get to know about you and your journey and things like that?" And yes, like you say, I've been on yours, I've been on Alex's, I've been on a few podcasts, but it was sort of then, well, why don't we just do this on the Mortgage Broker Broadcast? Why don't we just flip it on a little bit? And yeah, it's I'm getting comfortable now. I'm feeling a bit more comfortable. Yeah, fine. Relax my shoulders. We're fine.
It's one of those I remember, and this is shout out to Alex Curtis for this one, because I remember him doing an episode like this, and I loved it. So that's where I got this idea from. It was Alex, because Alex did it on his. I can't remember what episode it was, but he had one of his marketing friends interview him on the podcast and say, "Let's hear about your story," because exactly the same thing. So I'm not saying that you're the next Alex Curtis, but kind of am.
I'm not.
No pressure. So Craig, let's dive into it. Let's hear about your life and your story as a mortgage broker. So how did you get into mortgage business? What was your background in the mortgage? Because obviously I know you, but I know some of this, but I don't actually know all of it. So
21 years in financial services, stumbled into it. I was fortunate enough that one of the things I sort of talk about is I'm very much about recruiting people without experience. I'm about recruiting talent and giving people a chance and giving people a shot of doing something they want to do. I can remember wanting to get into financial services, into banking world, 16 years old. So that was, didn't get into it, went into the travel industry, and then just fell back into it. I went to a recruitment agency. They said about this role, thought there's no chance. Banking manager, branch manager of a bank, no chance. Well, I need to have done that for you. I was picturing this in my mind. Went for the interview, got on so well with the guy, the regional manager that ran the business, ran the region of branches. Just got on well with him, and he just gave me a chance. And I think that was the thing. He's like, he said, I had a list of CVs, which were just all about experience. But he said, but what you said on my CV, I just thought I'd just speak to you and just give you a chance. And that's what happened. And that's 21 years ago now. Went into banking, did that for quite a few years, then went into a estate agency. I'd had enough of banking. To be fair, Ash, I loved, it gave me good experience. And I was a branch manager. I then managed the mortgage brokers, mortgage advisors. I was sort of up and down the country managing the mortgage advisors for a little while. Loved the mortgage advising side of it. But the thing was, for me, was I was putting the hours and the shift in. The branch manager down the road was clocking in at 9 o'clock, clocking out at 5, earning the same money as me, no commissions, no bonus, a customer service reward every year for whatever that was, all that bull. And then, so I just thought, God, there must be more to it than this. I'm like, surely you should get rewarded for your shift that you're putting in. Went into a estate agency, mortgage services. Again, started as a broker. Ultimately, I knew that I was going to be a regional manager, sales manager, MSSM, whatever you want to call it, all those things. I knew quite quickly I was a mortgage broker, part-time MSSM, within sort of 3-6 months, full-time MSSM, managing a team. Then went a little bit, joined, like that was at Sequence, Connells, did that for quite a number of years, loved what I did, loved the team, loved managing people in mortgage services, loved the sort of the insecurity of the role in terms of recruiting people leaving, coming and going, managing performance. Then went to Countrywide, which basically was the same job, different label. I think that was a sales manager or so whatever that was, whatever the phony promotion was that we've talked about. Then and then did really well at that. I enjoyed that. I would sort of won awards for that at Countrywide, and then left that world behind. Went for equity release. I just wanted to look at something different, and the equity release was a big thing at the time. Went to work into equity release. Loved doing that. Was an advisor as well as managing a team of. I was managing a team of self-employed, and I think this is where it came into. Like I was managing a team of self-employed advisors, so I saw the self-employed role from their point of view, from an advisor point of view, and thought it's pretty good that they've got a really good, decent work-life balance. I'm providing with the leads. They see the leads when they want, convert them, things like that. So worked in equity release for a little while. Then got pulled back into Sequence, shall we say. It was sort of like, oh, we'll offer you this, we'll offer that. Got sort of think, well, there's a bit of security in that. Promised a lot of things, over-promising big things. And yeah, did that for a little while. Then really the bubble burst. I got that email to sort of say all the things we promised you were not quite working out, and that wasn't going to be happening. And why don't you come on to estate agents?
Just quickly on that, because there's so many stuff you said, but I think that I had a similar experience with Sequence when I went, not Sequence, but Connells Group. And they employed me back. And it's why interesting to hear that. You're going back, because I think you're not like the amount of people. I wish we could do like a poll when people are listening. How many people went back to Countrywide or Sequence or Connells? Especially how many people went back when it was bought. How many people pissed them off and then come. But why I say that though is the sounds like that. I remember like they brought me back. And I'm excited to bring back because I was making videos only within about 4 weeks to then tell me to stop making the videos.
Stop doing
so it's probably similar to, we don't have that here. It's like, well, you said you brought me back for that. So I can imagine, I can't imagine, like they just always move the goalposts.
Yeah. And like, they gave me good grounding, great experience. I wouldn't be running the business I would be today without all those different experiences put into the mix. But yeah, my God, like when you're looking back and like now, so left Sequence, what was that, mid-July 2017, July 2017, 4.5 years into what was CS Mortgage Solutions. Then always knew that I wanted to get into the wealth space as well from a pension investment point of view. So because I'm very much a person that if we've got a client, and this is we're going off on a tangent.
It's good. This is the whole idea. No, it's good.
So
people want to hear the real Craig.
No, I think because if you've got a client and you've worked hard for that, thanks for that. Thank you very much for that. I did miss that. I did miss that sort of like prompt, and I talked over your little thing there. So apologies for that. See, people aren't going to get used to this, Ash, because people can't get used to this because I've got no sound effects in my pod. So the Mortgage Broker broadcast is hearing things for sound effects for the first time. So
it's blown their mind.
Exactly, it is blowing their mind.
Or they're going to leave. So do you know what, guys? If you head over to the Mortgage Marketing Podcast, you're going to hear as many sound. You'll hear as many sound effects as you want.
Strike one.
Okay, no. Actually, did you win? I don't know when this is coming out. Did you win? I voted for you.
I don't know. I don't know. I
I voted
voted
for
for
you, and
you.
so did Alex.
I voted for you.
Did
I'm going to
you?
vote for Alex as well. I used 2 emails. I
Ah, see,
voted
I
for
voted
Alex.
for you. I did click on the thing. I clicked and said I voted for me, and then Alex messaged me, and I said, "Did I though, or did I just do it for the
W
engagement?"
well, it was just like for sanity. Could I actually nearly posted saying, "Can I actually vote for myself on this?" But I thought, "No, this is too much." And then I saw Alex doing the walk of shame, reaching out to all his listeners for votes. So I thought, "Oh,
Yeah,
Alex,
did
you've
that
sort
last
of."
time.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
did
yeah.
that last time, and I mean that's what. Yeah, I mean I voted. I voted for you, and I said I have to vote for you because if this wins, then it looks better for me because I
Yeah.
produce it. I was like,
Yeah.
what do I do? And I also thought at the time I was like, I launched the podcast, I saw the awards, and I was like, well, I've got like 3 episodes out, so someone's just put me in there in a token. Someone's just gone. You should probably include him in there.
I always
But
think that when you see the list of nominees, and in the order they are, I always sort of think, right, so if there's 5 nominations and I'm number 5, the chances are I'm the token guy that's just been added into the
I was
bottom.
number 4, mate. So I think
Oh, would you?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Come on, Alex is gonna win.
Oh, of course he is. Of course
Yeah,
he is.
he's
Well,
done the
anyway,
pit. He's done the pity. Go on.
no, I think this is gonna be no, this will be out. I don't know when the awards are announced, but we'll make sure that it goes out before, just in case, and we look relevant in terms of we don't know what's going on.
Yeah, we're talking about. Is it the Money Group Awards?
Yeah, we are talking about the Money Group Awards. Yeah, yes.
There you
Which I
go.
was
So
quite nicely surprised to getting a nomination on that and a shortlisted. So I'll take
you
that.
were, yeah. Like
I'll take.
I think you could win that. If you
We'll
win it,
see.
you got to do a whole episode. Anyway,
Yeah,
you
fine.
carry on.
So CS. So yeah. So the
Got
idea
into the
was
wealth. Yeah.
that yeah, the idea was that obviously my baby was CS Mortgage Solutions. That's where it all started with the branding. But I knew that the CS Retirement Solutions, CS Wealth Solutions were something plans for the future. So CS Mortgage Solutions, yep, that's how it started. Wanted to go into the wealth side of things as well, and that's where we are right now. Yeah, we're at sort of 4.5 years in. CS Mortgage Solutions going all right. Cannot complain in terms of how it's grown over the last 4.5 years. The CS Retirement Solutions, but going back to my point was that with clients, I think you should be able to, if you worked hard to get a client, you should be able to keep that client within your brand. You've built that trust up, you built that relationship. You should be able to service all their financial services needs. So shouldn't need to look elsewhere for doing that. But I get there's a lot of brokers out there that don't want to do the wealth side of things. They don't want to do and get the dip for and go through diploma and stuff like that. I get all that. So it's important for them to refer to somebody that they know and trust. It might not be in their brand, but then somebody they know and trust that's not going to need the protection so they get a clawback, and they're not going to need the mortgage, which is another big thing as well. So yeah, so that's 4.5 years. Yeah, that's been
What?
sort of it.
Yeah, come. I mean, the interesting thing is what I ask because like you've had a very interesting career. Like I didn't know any of that stuff. I cut you off on a lot of my episodes because I'm very specific. So it's very
You're bored
interesting
of
to.
what I'm talking about, Ash. That's what it is.
I'm not bored. I actually am very interested today. I'm interested today because I haven't heard that before. But one thing I'd be interested to know, I want to know, and I'm sure other people want to know, because that's a massive amount of growth in regards to 4 years. You're in 4 years. I know advisors and I've been an advisor myself where 4 years and they're still just doing the same thing they did in year one. They might be making more money because they're finally leaning back on their,
They
oh,
should
my
be. They
remos are
should be.
coming in. But
Yeah, yeah.
but the reality is, you've built a business. Like there's a difference between having a business and being self-employed. And you've built a business in 4 years. So was that always the plan? What I'd love to know is what was going through your head on day zero, ground zero, the first day that you went self-employed. You've obviously seen, just to get my head around it, you've seen these people self-employed, you've managed them with the equity release, so you've seen it
Yeah.
before. You've been in pretty much every corporate environment possible, from banking through to different state agency based financial service companies. What was going through your head on day one of full on self-employed?
I think it was a real sort of, the first of all, it's the reality of, oh my God, I'm now self-employed, what am I going to do kind of thing. But I think that the whole plan was around, I think what I was just had enough of the under over-promising, under-delivering bull with the corporate world, to be fair. Like I say, I've got utmost respect for the corporate world, and I've learned a lot from it. But I think it was always a case of, I just wanted to have that freedom. That's the big word now that's underlines everything that I do, is that I've got freedom to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And I think that was ultimately what I wanted. I think that's what I want in life. That's what I wanted to do with my career. And I just thought to myself, this is like, I've now got that freedom. It's like what you do with it is the important bit of the freedom. But then I knew that I wanted to have the CS Retirement Solutions. I knew that I wanted to grow the mortgage business. I knew I wanted to grow the CS Mortgage Solutions. When I look back at my business plan, and I've still got those business plans, I've still got those forecasts and all those, because it's good grounding. I get like, look back at the bank statements and look at the turnover and look at those sorts of things and look at the overdraft and all those sorts of things, because you think it keeps you grounded. I think you have to look back at those and thinking, actually, and that it wasn't, yes, financially, there's obviously the benefit of financially, but it's not, I didn't do it for the financial side of things. I did it just for my life, for my own. I wanted to look back at, there's a book that I won't quote, but like it's about having regrets, and it's a real eye opener from a and I forget, I'm stumbling because I can't remember what it's actually called. But basically, there is a nurse. She's in a nursing home, and this is end of life care, and she's interviewing these people who are literally got days, weeks, month if they're lucky to live. And she's interviewing these people. And the one common thing that goes through those people is about having no regrets, and actually feeling as though I've done something with my life. And that was the thing. It's like, well, be brave, be scared, go for it. If you were thinking about it, just go for it. Like, what is the worst that can happen? You've like look back on your life and think, do you know what? And that's the thing for me. Like now, with the business and what's happened, I'm like, actually, I don't have any ego. I don't sit there thinking, oh my God, like what I've achieved is amazing, because I don't, because there's always more to look forward to. There's always more moving forward and more to achieve and more to achieve. But I think the biggest thing that I've learned is to enjoy the ride as well at the same time. I think that was that you can get too hung up on the goals sometimes and not enjoy doing what you're doing. And again, we've got on a total tangent with the question
it's
that you
good.
asked.
No, it's not. That's what make that. It's not about a tangent. It's about the whole idea of what we're doing. I was trying to connect my my phone up, because there's a video you just said, and it's got me thinking. This whole idea, I've just taken over this episode, and that's the whole idea of it. But there was a video I saw of Jimmy Carr. Have you seen this video of Jimmy Carr being interviewed?
No, it is on my list to watch. I haven't seen it, to be honest with you. I do know which one they're talking about, but no, go on.
Let me see if I can connect it, because I think your listeners might like it, and it'll be like, I can do it on my phone. I'm very fancy. See, Craig doesn't have all this fancy equipment the same way I do, but no, I think
all the gear,
but no idea.
If you do want to find somebody, a podcast host with all the gear, please see the mortgage marketing.
No, that's
strike two.
Definitely not the case. If it works, it might not even work. But there's a I'm trying to get my roadcaster to connect via Bluetooth, but it's not doing it. There's a really interesting thing you're saying there, and it's a thing that Jimmy Carr was saying, and he actually said, why did he go why did he set up and do what he was going to become a comedian? And he said, I didn't do it to be rich and famous. I did it because I had to. I wanted to be here you go, I'll play it to you, and this might relate to you, and this is your listeners. And this, by the way, if you're relating to this, then it would lead into the idea of you should join My Brand, My Way. Because if this is how you feel.
Got a sound effect for that, Ash, as well.
Boom, boom. See if this works.
I'm doing a gig above.
Can you hear that, yeah?
Yep.
Cash in hand.
Yeah.
That was
all right. So this is what he said. He got interviewed, and this reminds me of, you just said this, and I've only just heard this today, and you were just saying that, and I was like, oh my God. Because I was running around telling my wife this, and I love this. So your listeners can hear this as well.
I didn't leave my job to be rich and famous on TV. I left my job for, yo ho ho, a pirate's life for me. We're doing comedy. I'm doing a gig above a pub. Someone gave me £20 cash in hand. It was crazy. I'd had like a good job, but it's that thing where you go, the good is the enemy of the best. How much to not live your life? How much to not follow your dreams? How much do I have to give you across the table? Now, I'm saying this to you now, right? And you're a wealthy man, you're an investor or whatever. So it's going to be a high figure. But for most people in their mid-20s, they've just left college, or early 20s, they've left college. And you go, they give you 35 grand to compromise on everything and always be tired and just work to my time. And people go, okay. That's the thing of like working for someone else is, I think, that's the big shift, right? So my stand-up is a metaphor in the book. I'm not trying to get people to become stand-ups. Frankly, I don't need the fucking competition. But the idea of going and doing your thing, even if it's less successful, but doing your thing, being your boss, being your CEO, great. Like, I'm all about that. When people tell me they've started a little business or done a little thing, you just go, yeah, fucking boss.
How about that?
Wow.
And that's what you were just saying then. And I was thinking, that's you.
Oh my God. I can't believe I've not listened to that. And I can't believe, but it's great. And we've not planned that or staged that whatsoever. Like, I have like, got the genuine look on my face. I know you can't, like, the listeners can't hear me, but the genuine look on my face of, oh my God, that is absolutely spot on. You're right. It wasn't for the income. It wasn't for the, yes, it's okay it's good to have an income to live by, but it's not what it's about. It's about actually being brave and looking back and thinking, do you know what? I gave it a go. Do you know what? I gave it a shot. And it's just like when he's sort of saying about how much to not follow your dreams, how much to be told, like, how much are you prepared? Like, it's like, wow, how powerful are those words coming from somebody like Jimmy Carr?
But it's not just that. It's like you. This is why I'm saying it is because it's you. That's the stuff you're telling me there. And this is the thing that's really interesting and I think your listeners, especially it's brokers, you talk about, I'm ex-Connells, you're ex-Connells, you're ex-Country. That thing of how much money does it take to stop you from doing it? And if you're a broker and you're relating to that, because that's how I felt. And I know that's probably, that's a youth. And that's why I was interested to ask you what it felt like, because I remember thinking there's got to be another way. There can't be this. And how many of you are working all hours God sends in corporate companies, or like, that's what I love about that. And when you were saying that then, and I watched it, and I'd never thought of that way of how much is it? 35 grand, and you're willing to give up on everything. And to be fair, I said to my wife, and I said, I wouldn't do it for 6 figures. Now knowing the game, 6 figures would not make me, that you couldn't pay me a penny. And I think it's really interesting because that's what you were saying then. When you were saying, I was thinking, oh my gosh, this is twice in one day that I heard this. Because I've literally I downloaded that to my phone and sent it to my wife. And so,
Wow.
and it literally was about 3 hours before we are talking. So
Wow.
if that resonates. So what I love then, and I want to segue that into a bit of a pitch for you, and honestly, because of what it is, you've set up this thing, and it's on all of the tops, and we see it everywhere we go. Is this my brand, my way? Can you explain to me and also to the listeners what this is? Now, at the end of the episode, it always says, if you're interested in the my brand, my way, in the funky voice, and you've said it on my show, and you've done, but what is my brand, my way? And I think it connects heavily to what he said. That's why when you were saying it, I was like, if you feel like that way, what is my brand, my way?
So basically, it's aimed at experienced advisors who want to go out, do want to own their own brand, own their own business, own their own clients, are creating their own legacy. They are their boss. That's what it's all about. And I think that's why, with regards to my brand, my way, it's a case of, it's like the advice. I've got CS Mortgage Solutions. I've got mortgage brokers in CS Mortgage Solutions that have joined the firm, been part of what I wanted to do and what I wanted to achieve, but being part of CS Mortgage Solutions. So in essence, it's still CS Mortgage above the door, CS Mortgage Solutions above the door. But these people have moved on to the My Brand, My Way. It's called a program, but I think that means it's structured and it is structured in a certain way, but it's very bespoke to what you want it to be. But basically, it's, you own your own clients, you own your own business, you own your own brand, all those sorts of things. But what fundamentally you're getting is help and support to make it successful and to make it work and to make it grow. And whatever success looks like for you, that's fine. That's cool. But that's okay. Like, there's no hidden agenda. There's no, oh, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. There is nothing like that at all. So, like, I've got people that are joining the My Brand My Way program and don't want to earn six figures. They're not bothered about that. They want to just have that balanced life and the work-life balance while they're earning decent income and they're earning okay, and but ultimately as well, they're owning their own clients and it's their own brand, their own business. But they're creating legacy. They're creating something that is theirs. And I think no matter whether you when you work for another firm or a firm, it's like, being totally honest, it's like CS Mortgage Solutions. We have got it set up in the way, like, which is quite unique because I've seen how other firms are run and how other things are done. Because behind the scenes, mortgage advisors, mortgage brokers in CS Mortgage Solutions generate their own clients. They're self-generated, but they are they are their clients. So, like, whereas other firms I've sort of seen is, well, that's still my client. So you've generated it, but you've generated under my umbrella and my brand and my whatever. So I'm still on that client. Whereas the My Brand My Way is helping people that want to create a legacy. And don't get me wrong, I've got some fantastic brokers, CS Mortgage Solutions, that don't want to do this. They're happy generating leads, taking business leads, and just part of that culture that we've got at CS Mortgage Solutions. And I'm very lucky to have that culture. Is then with the My Brand My Way, it's just taking it that little bit further, where you've got, like you say, you've got bespoke support from me. I am your mentor. I am your coach. I'm not an opinionated person that tells you what to do. All I'm playing is devil's advocate with certain things. Like being a coach, you know what it's like. You are my coach, and you know that from a brand point of view, is when you feel as though you're responsible to somebody. We've talked about this. Is when you're responsible to somebody. If you go on your own, totally with a network that again says you get support and you don't, you are on your own. Whereas, and it's a lonely place. And I've been there. And I do get help and support from open work. They have been. But day to day, you don't get that hand holding. You don't get that support. You make the decisions yourself. You learn from those decisions. And you make some howlers. You make some great ones. But I think what I'm trying to do is, like with the My Brand My Way, it's a very much an abundance mentality from me, that I just want to help people who are experienced mortgage brokers, mortgage advisors that are stuck, don't feel supported. They're in that micromanaged role. There is the 35 grand, the 40 grand. How much is it? How much are you willing to accept to not follow your dreams and not build your own legacy and create your own legacy? Well, actually, you can do that with the My Brand My Way. You still get my help and support. You still get attractive rates, and you still, everything's yours. You've got your own brand. You're creating a legacy that's yours, that you own, that you can sell in the future, all those sorts of things. But it's really, for me, it's like, it is, I want to help. Mortgage brokers' numbers are dwindling. People, old school advisors looking to cash in on their firms, moving out of financial advising, moving out of mortgage broking, and we need new blood. And there's a lot of new blood that's coming into mortgage broking that don't get the help and support, and those people that are very good advisors in the corporate world, but then when they step out to become self-employed and think, right, I want to run my own business, don't get that support, and then they can fail and then move back to what they did before. And it's just like, once you've moved back, that's it. You're never sort of going to change. And I think that's the thing is, I want to help and support people to be good brokers. There is far too many clients that just press the PT button when the remortgage is due, or don't. There is a lack of trust with mortgage brokers and financial advisors. We need to break that mold. We need to break all those things. And whether they're working with, like, I have time for everybody. There is people that come to me and I offer them help, support, talk to them. They don't join the firm and like that, then that's fine. That's their choice of what they want to do. But there is people that do join the firm. But it's about, for me, it's just helping and supporting people. And I enjoy seeing people grow. I enjoy people building their own brand, building their own legacy, and sort of seeing that value from a family point of view as well, of like with their work-life balance and what they do. It's like you say, it's not for them. It's not all about the income. It's not. You know, like, Ash, I'm not the rah-rah of, "Oh, if you're not earning six figures, you're not being a mortgage broker." That's not me. That's right for some people, and there is the people out there that will help and support you to be in that environment. That's not for me. It's about creating the right culture, the right core values, the right income for what people want to earn. So there's people in my firm, people on the My Brand My Way that want to earn X amount, and it ain't six figures. That's all right. I will help and support you to do what you want. And because I do want to take the kids to school, I do want to drop them off. I do want to pick them up. I do want to spend some time with them. I do want to think, on a Friday morning, I can take them this and do things because that's important time that you will never, ever get back. And that's the thing that I realized. Sorry, Ash. Sorry.
No, good. No, when you get on your soapbox,
I know. Yeah, I'm really sorry. Yeah,
no, it's brilliant. No, don't. It's good. People need to hear it because that's what I mean. People don't. You're very good when you interview people, but people don't actually see the conversations me and you will have in our like sessions and stuff. What is actually going on and how passionate you truly are about this stuff. Like it's literally like makes you so angry or so passionate about it. You can hear it whenever we chat about it. And it's interesting. There's a couple of things that you've said there, and I know it's stuff that I always think about you is this idea of, and I want to shed light on that for a number of people, and I think you're the best person to do this, is this idea of six figures, this idea of like one thing that I found as a broker, this is interesting to hear your take. When I was a broker, the best thing that I've learned as a broker was when you start realizing what people earn. And you start realizing that these figures, these numbers that everyone's throwing out there, of six figures. Very rarely would I come across people who actually, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know people who do, and it is good. And I've been there as well. So it's not a big, but it's one of those scenarios where it's not all about that. And I feel like right now in the mortgage broker service, there's not enough young people. You're spot on. I very rarely, I know you had Dan Knott on the show. I had Dan Knott on my show. I was the first like young guy I've spoken to in a long time where I was like, oh my God, there are people actually coming in who are interested because it's very, very rare. But a lot of people I meet got sold on the idea of a lot of money and fast. And it's just not the case. And that was what I'd see. And I feel like for me, it's a very passionate point for me in general in the world is this re-education of understanding how the money, everyone is not making six figures. And if you make six figures, that's a lot of money. And I remember
okay not to make six
it's
figures.
Okay not to. Yeah.
It's okay not to.
It's okay. Like, and I remember my dad saying that to me going, you don't make six figures without working hard. So if you don't want to work really hard, like break your back, don't worry. Be happy.
and that's it. Like I know the I'm looking to know top advisors in the large corporates. I know the top 1, 2, 3 brokers in the large corporate world. They don't make six figures. They don't. So like
it's just about pushing. I remember at Connell's, the best advisor, and she was the top in my team, and not just in my team. She was top in the whole of Connell's. Her name was Kate Stratton. People might remember Kate or not. And I know Kate, she was in my team, and I can't remember the exact amount, but we were working it all out on paper, and it wouldn't have broke six. But she was the best.
Yeah.
And Robbie's world, do you remember Robbie? He's the other guy that was, what's his name? Robbie Cleaves.
Yeah.
Like he was a machine. He probably was, but they say they don't. They don't. Not saying, not in a bad one. By the way, that's not.
No, it's not in a bad way. Not
but
at
it's
all.
understanding it. I think sometimes you have to look at your pay structures in those corporate environments and go, wait a minute, how would you actually do it? And then also look at that in your real world and go, it's okay. You're happy to work there for. And I always remember in mine, I was like, am I happy to make 40 grand in my third year or ever? This was my mindset. 40 grand as a broker I made at the time or something like that. Cause I was on like the piddly trainee salary. And I remember thinking like, if I can make 30 self-employed with, all that time back to myself, that's a massive win. And I think that's the problem. And I love that thought. That's a big bugbear of mine because it's not spoke about because it's not sexy.
No, but don't you think that's just the way of the world? I talked to somebody recently, actually, who is coming on the podcast pretty soon, and we're talking about awards like November time is all the rah for awards for mortgage services, and
I didn't see Carla for like 9 weeks because of these bloody awards. Those awards are a pain.
But it's okay not to be like, there is so many people out there that are doing a good job, doing a great thing with the clients, been really amazing mortgage brokers, but they feel like they're missing out because I'm not on the awards. I'm not like, well, how come I'm not on an award? It's okay to not earn six figures. It's okay not to be at the awards as well, because I quickly learned the hard way that if like, and this is just my take on it. This is not a blanket opinion or whether this is right or wrong, but I just felt that it was the same people going to the same awards, collecting the same awards, sponsored by the same people year in, year out. And it was just a case of, and I can remember
100%.
somebody said to me, we had 10 advisors in the firm at the time, and they said to me, if you book a table and spend X amount of pounds, which was a lot of money, it wasn't six figures, but it was 5, you will win that award. And it's like, fuck that. Sorry, I was just like, that's wrong. I nearly swore then. Like, literally,
Do you swear in the
that's just wrong.
podcast? I've swore twice
No,
here, so you're done.
That's fine. No, we're fine. I can put the explicit things on
beeps.
there. It's fine. So
Jimmy
but I
Carr
think-
swore twice.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, to be fair, yeah, he did. So we can blame him. We can blame Jimmy Carr. But I think like it's okay not to be, and I think that's the reality with mortgage brokers, with anything, but with mortgage brokers, it's okay to be. Matt Poole, I love Matt Poole.
I love
Matt Poole was on the podcast
Yeah,
a
he's
few
been on
weeks
recently.
ago, and he's like in his wisdom, he said about success, and you just got to look at what success means to you. Your success is different to everybody else's success. Just focus on what success looks like for you. That's
think-
basically.
It's really important. First of all, I love Matt as well, and I love what you're saying there, and these awards and everything else. I think the issue is definitely, and this is a thing, to echo that. And I was saying about this. I had a call with somebody about this before, and this is like where me and you work together because you're building your personal brand, you're building a brand out, you're doing digital marketing. By the way, it's okay if you're a mortgage broker and you don't want to be on social media. Like, you don't have to be. That's another thing. I think that it's becoming this thing now where people are like, if you're not on social media, and there are people in the industry who say that, if you're not on social media, then you are losing. No, you're not. I tell you what, if you have a steady flow of leads, you get the business, and don't go on it. Like, why do you need, like, you don't have to be on it. Like, and I think,
Don't.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous. And that's really like counterproductive for someone like me. But the truth is, I don't, like, I've met people and I'm like, what's your goals? Okay, well, this is the thing. Okay, do you have leads? Yes. Okay, what's your goals? Well, everyone's telling me I need to be on social. And I'm like, well, you don't. You really don't.
No, you don't. You don't at all. And like you say, I am very much about brand and obviously the content and stuff like that. But the thing is, it's like with the mortgage broker broadcast, I don't get people, like, I'm not doing this for like income or anything like that. I get people reaching out to me, asking, posting, tagging me into various things and saying, thank you. I listen to, like, people, I get messages going, thanks for, like, oh, I don't know. And like, and thinking, oh my God, like, I got some, like, on Insta the other day, it's like, Craig, I listen to your podcast every single week. I don't know them. I've never had any. So, but like, that's great. If I think this is something that Alex talked about on the podcast as well. And I think because if you've got that mentality, and Jonathan Needham was the same as well, it's just, if you can help people get into the mortgage broking world and they make a success of it, but then they're good at what they do, they don't have to work with you or be part of what you, but they do it then. And that's the thing with it. It's like, yes, the My Brand, My Way and all that sort of thing, and the CS Mortgage Solutions is about working with me. Absolutely, because I want to help the right people. It's like for you, you want to help the right people. You don't work with everybody, but you want to work with the right people, the people that share the same core values, share the same aspirations. People want to enjoy doing what they're doing, and it's all about the service. It's about the client journey, all those sorts of things. It's like people that come out, okay, I want to become My Brand, My Way because I want to earn this. It's like, right, okay, that's the first thing you've said to me. Is like, is that all that's important? Is that what it's about? Yes, I want to earn X amount of pounds as a mortgage broker. Maybe not. That's not good for you. Absolutely great. But where's the service for the client?
You want to do
where's
that,
the
then
trust?
go and work. The best way of that, if people come to me and if I've had brokers, and I have had brokers say, I want to earn X amount, I go, okay, go and work for the New Homes Group, because you'll be you'll kill it, but you'll be dead in a year. Because it is, if it's about money, it's a different thing. And that's what, you say My Brand, My Way. It's about autonomy. Like you said about My Brand, My Way for me, like I've said to you off air multiple times in our sessions, you created the thing that I've said to you, I probably would have been a broker still if it had existed then, because you've created the service that I needed. I had creativity and leads weren't a problem, but running a business, I had no idea how to do it. And that's where the value, and that's what something I wanted to ask you with that. And I know you got a point here, but I want to ask, because you've been keep going around this, is in a good thing is, do you think part of what you of this idea of your set, because you keep saying this is a trend I see with what you do, it's always about, it's like giving more than you take, but it also seems to be you keep talking about sticking to your word and honoring what you've said, and and it's obviously a pain point, because you can see that with some that whatever's gone on with those, they didn't stick to their word. You keep saying this over and over again about, like, I want to just help people, I want to be honest, I want them to know they've got that. Is that something that is something you've seen in the industry where it's gone wrong, and you can think I can be a solution to that problem? Is that something that's gone, because you're driven by, and I find this so weird because you're one of the very few people I know in the mortgage industry who is driven by something more than just profit. And it's very weird for me, because I'm always like trying to just because I'm like, with that, I'm like, oh, we spent this much. You're like, yeah, it's fine. I'm like, what? Okay, but because it's a bigger purpose. Have you always been that way, or do you think your experiences within the industry has changed the way, has brought that out more?
I think it is down to the industry experience. Actually, it's like the over-promising, under-delivering mentality, the opinionated. You need to do this. Like, I still see it now. Like brokers that are handing the notice in with large corporates, and then they come back with, oh, you need to do this, or we'll increase your pay by this, you'll get more commissions. It's like bull. Like, if you're worth that in the first place, you'll get paid it. It's like, it's just, I just hate like that sort of thing. Just frustrates the life out of me. And that's the thing with even the self-employed world, is you still get that now, where every single broker that works with me, whether you're under the CS Mortgage Solutions or it's the My Brand My Way, it's the same thing. It's the same pay. It's the same commission split. It's the same. It's exactly the same. I don't have, because I've seen it. I've seen people where people have come to say, I'm self-employed, but then I'm part of a firm, and this person, they get this and they get this and they get this taken off, and whereas I get this and this taken off. It's like, why? It's so wrong to be in that kind of world. So I think it's over promising, under delivering is a big thing. People, we're not going to talk about, but things like skimming. So one of my brokers, he joined the firm under CS Mortgage Solution, not the My Brand My Way, but he sort of said he'd had enough of the people it was like paying stuff away. It's like, well, there's a deduction for this, and this is this, and this. It's like, well, what's that for? What's that for?
That, I remember working, again, I won't name any names, but I was in a firm, and I remember them going through the commission thing, self-employed, kind of like hybrid, that hybrid, kind of viral. And I remember going, why it's that complexification. It's so complex. Why? And then you say this is the skimming, and it was like, well, there's a price for that, and but if you hit this threshold, you get this. But then we do have to then think about this. And I remember thinking, and I remember saying, actually, after we're going, people only make things complex when they're trying to hide something. And the guy was like, no. And I was like, I'm sorry. So I'm not calling you out here. I said, it's confusing, and things are only confusing for a reason. Because it's pretty straightforward. How much money are you going to pay me? What's the split?
What is the split?
And if it's like, it's this across the board, but when the people start going, I get it, don't get me wrong, this thing, but when there's this admin fee, I get that. But as it starts to layer, I always think, what are you trying to hide? And that's something I find with you, I always find refreshing, is that it's very straightforward. Everything is very straightforward.
It goes back to being, I just treat people the way I expect to be treated myself, Ash. I think it goes back to the things that I'm a very trusting person. I will trust people until they give me a reason not to trust them. And then as soon as they give me a reason not to trust them, it's I'm done. Not one for burning bridge. It's done. I'm not one for burning bridge.
Gosh, you're getting all the sound effects today, guys.
I know, yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm hopefully I might be investing in one of these machines if it works.
Oh yeah, if you'll like it, then absolutely we can have a phone in. If you can get Craig to open his wallet, no, I'm joking. You get Craig to open his wallet and get himself his new studio.
No, exactly.
These are good. The most expensive piece of equipment I never use. I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't buy one. They're really not that good. They're brilliant.
Your endorsement right there.
They're brilliant, but I tell you what, like someone like Alex Curtis would probably want one. But like people like me and you, if it's one person, they're designed for 4 people. So I can't fit 4. I can only fit one person in this room.
Yeah.
Same with you. You got you and your dog can sit on the other chair.
Yeah, exactly.
So
but going back, it's about the trust. I think it's a trust thing. It is very much about that, and I think that's been installed in me for a long time. And it's a case of I will trust people until they give me a reason not to, and as soon as they give me the reason not to, then that breaks down. So I am, like I say, like there is no hidden agenda with me. I am who I am. Like if you see me at work, out of work, on a video, on a podcast, it's the same Craig. There doesn't need to be a show or anything like that. I think it's just because, again, you're hiding under layers. I think if you have to have that, then you're hiding under layers. And I think it's just the more things you're hiding, then the more you're going to get caught out. So yeah, Absolutely. I think it's just about it's that analogy that if you can do 5, you can do 7. You can do 7, you can do 10. You can do 10, you can do 12. You can do 12, you can do 15. And I think this just creates the machine that you can never ever get off, because then, because now you're doing this, we're going to pay you this. Oh, you're now doing that, so we're going to pay you that. And it's just you're creating this wheel that you can never ever get off, because it's just going faster and faster and faster. And if you try and stop, it just crashes. Like it crashes, because then all of a sudden, well, you've got nothing. Like if you try and step off that wheel, it's like but the reality is, if you're an employee, or you like is that, like you talked about that, if you want to earn 6 figures, go and work for this firm. They're still their clients. You walk away from that firm tomorrow, you've got nothing. You've got nothing. You'll get a nice letter saying cease and desist, and like if you do this and all the rest of it, you'll get all those nice letters that you can frame, but you'll walk away with nothing. And that was the frustration. That was the thing for me, is that there's so many good people out there that are creating things for other people when actually you should be creating for yourself.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I couldn't agree more. Like genuinely, like it's the only reason. Like I remember though, was self-employed. Like the only reason, like how I got self-employed was I went employed. I was an estate agent. I saw the brokers. I became a broker. I went this hybrid role. That failed. I went back to Connell's, like everyone does. And it gets to a point where you're like, I can't, like, I just kept looking, going, I'm building this for someone else. And no matter what you do, no matter what you kid yourself, no matter legally, they don't belong to you. And that was the point where it didn't make sense. And it didn't also make sense to me when I was looking at, like these advisors. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a whole different thing. But when these advisors, I would be signing up, do really well. I didn't not earn 6 figures. I wrote about 100. Oh, how much? It was over 100 grand in my first year as an advisor. Like I was good, because I'm good with people. So if you put people in front of me, I can chat to them. That's fine. I'm good with that. But what I didn't realize, when you go self-employed, and that's the thing, is it's a lot harder when you go self-employed. You've got to find them. That's the issue. But one thing people didn't realize though was that I would look at that and go, okay, if I sign 10 people this week or 12 people, whatever, I'd only need to have 2 or 3 in the month. When I actually looked at it, I was like, this could be an incredible, and I think with mortgages, people don't get is mortgages is an incredible industry and an incredible lifestyle industry. If you're self-employed, like an incredible lifestyle industry, everything can be done on your phone. Everything can be, a lot of things can be automated. It's wonderful. And there's a lot of people who are in the corporate mentality, which is just this never-ending grindstone of just burning you out.
Mortgage, protection.
More. Like these numbers, you write 20, 30, 40, 50. I mean, when I was at Connell's, they were going, you got to write, if you're not writing 25 grand a month, then you're not even. And I was thinking, are you joking? Like, are you joking? And I remember you talk about that. You can do 5, you can do 10. My boss hated me because I was like, I think I did a really big month. And I was like, my target is, I think my target to get my phony promotion was like 80 grand.
Yeah.
So I was like, well,
yeah.
to hit my first, and I was like, well, just want to, I'm halfway. I think I got like 40 in the first 3 months or whatever. So I was like, well, I'm halfway there. So I'm just going to chill out. and he was like, no.
No
I
way.
was like, why?
Yeah.
He's like, you can't do that. And that's the problem, is that the reality is you should be able to, because life comes in balance and it comes in work, if ebbs and flows, and you can't do that all the time because you will burn out.
No, you can't. I think the thing is, actually, it's just about like the person. Like, I spoke to somebody when I was first looking to go self-employed, and he said to me, he said, at the minute, because you're in that corporate world, your eyes are down, your head's down, not in mentally or physically, but literally all you can see is a first appointment, a mortgage and protection. That's all you can see. And then your appointments are fed by the branch. You then sign them up, and that's all you can see. But then when you become self-employed, it's like a sprint. It's like a sprint, because you've got, if you think about, and I've talked about this before, like as a mortgage broker going self-employed for the first time, you're in the starting blocks. You're there. You've got your head down. You're ready for the gun. Somebody says, right, there's your authorization. Away you go. But you've got your head down. You don't spring up straight away and go, oh, I know what I'm doing and I'm sort of full speed. You think about a sprinter, the first 10, 15, 20 meters is getting out of the blocks. So that's the first 2 years, is getting out of the blocks, getting your head up, getting your chest out, and then you're sprinting. And then you know what you're doing and you're sprinting. With mortgage broking being self-employed, you've got to look at the other avenues of income, because all you've been ingrained to do is mortgage and protection, mortgage and protection, mortgage and protection. Whereas, you look at all the other, like affiliations, referrals, conveyancing, like all these, like these financial advisors, equity release. There is loads of different ways to make money. So you don't need to see 10, you don't need to see 12. You just do a good job with a few people that you've generated. And what better feeling are you going to get than like somebody who's contacted you from something you've done, you've generated that lead yourself, or whether it's been social or referral or whatever, you've then signed that customer up, you've done your mortgage, you've done your protection, you've referred them for this, you've got the conveyancing, you've got all the other things, other income streams that you've got. They're all so your pound per client triples, quadruples, and that's what you've got to do. Is like, you've got to look at, it's not just a case of, I'm a mortgage broker, sign the mortgage up, that's fine. But actually, you can earn 3, 4, 5, 6 times that amount. So what a great way to live. Like, you're earning 4, 5, 6 times the amount per client than you would have been in the past. Well, you don't need to see 12 then on that basis. You don't need, because then you can do it. And like I say, you can live a decent lifestyle. But I think it's just, for the first few years, you've got to get out of those starting blocks and think about how you're playing your trade and getting out there.
The smart ones. I mean, I'm a big believer in that anyway, with the nature of what I do now. But a lot of I have literally double digits of revenue as in streams, as in like they're different revenue streams. All my income does not come from one thing. It comes by about 12, maybe 13 different avenues. And that, by the way, is a content creator normal thing. And it should be the same for every business. But in the content creation world, it has to, because you get affiliate, you've got a partnership, you've got sponsorship, you've got this, I'm working consulting there, coaching here. It has to be. That's the nature of it. And I actually think that's the right thing for brokers, because you have to have multiple revenue streams. Because if you don't sign a mortgage, and that's why the way I was a big believer of, that's where a fee comes in. That's where, and I'm a big believer of fee up front. I spoke to an advisor recently and they were like, oh, I get my fee on completion. I think it should be a fee on, I don't know if you do that, but I think it should be a fee on.
No, we started out that way. We learned very quickly that it's fee on application.
I think it should be fee on app. I think that this is my own take on it, because I'd worked with lots of brokers and I'm very vocal about this. I think it should be the ways to diversify your income. Fee on app, take your protection on the drip. Take the protection on the drip, take your, get your, obviously on your mortgages, use things like Check My File for affiliate-based income. Make sure you refer to equity releases. Make sure you look for referral opportunities, because they are there. connect with, like I always say before, I work with a broker where here locally, and I was like, well, do you work with an estate agent? They were like, what do you mean? And I said, they're not. And they were like, well, no, I get leads. I said, no. Do you have a referral back that if you give the estate agent, and they're like, that doesn't work that way. I was like, yes, it does. If you go, I've got somebody who needs to sell their house, I want 30% of the fee, because that's how much they said that. And he was like, really? I was like, yeah. And there's so many ways, but I think a big one is the insurance on the drip, because, and that's when you talk about your sprinting those 2 years. I've spoken to so many people. When I took my thing originally, it was all going to drip, because I've met so many people who are 5, 6, 7 years in, and their income is solid. They don't have to sign anything up for the next 3 years, because it doesn't matter, because they've still got income coming in. And that's what you talk about building lifestyle businesses. And people that, there's going to be brokers who might reach out to me now and be like, you're tracking rubbish, don't do that. But the truth is, that is a smart move from your own because if you can rely on that as an income stream.
It is absolutely, from my experience, it's 110% the smart move. It's funny enough, I've been having a conversation with a broker in the firm today about that exact thing. And he's sort of seen the light and thought, you know what? I am going to start doing it on the drip now, because
the business has value.
Brokers. Exactly.
Well, that's what I was chatting to a broker, an advisor that and I was saying this to her, saying, like, if you ever wanted to sell a business, you can only sell it if it has repeat value. Yeah. And I was like, and this is what brokers don't understand. I was like, oh yeah, but I make this much money up front. I said, no, but if you like where the end goal for these people is to sell it and cash out, your business has to be a money machine, because that's why people buy businesses, because they got a return. And so if you build a really great pipeline on the drip of insurance, and home insurance, that's the other one. Oh my gosh, GI, home insurance, GI is massive. If you can build these out, you do that for 10 years and you absolutely hammer it for 10 years, that's a very, very, very valuable business. Very valuable, because someone could clock out for 5 years. They could do nothing for 5 years.
Exactly.
And
that's
get paid
the thing.
Still.
It's not so much, yes, selling it, absolutely, if that's what you want to do, or you can just live off the income from it. It's not like, and that's the thing. It's
people don't understand it. Insurance for me, but then you have the brokers, because the brokers are the way in. But I think that's something that like, if I was to do it again, like that's like, if I was back in the broker space, and that's why I love what you're talking about, because you're the guy, by the way, that would have told. This is why I say go back to my brand, my way. I know that now that I've worked with very, very profitable firms, as a consultant. I'm lucky enough now as a consultant to look under the hood of people like you, look under the hood of, and there's lots of them. I worked with like 100 odd people last year. So it's one of those, like, I've seen under the hood of the really good ones and the really bad ones. But I didn't know that when I was an advisor. And I would have, if I'd had someone like you, which is the whole value of my brand, my way, still being able to have the autonomy, still being able to do what Jimmy Carr has said, of being able to be your own boss, but have someone go, Ash, that's probably not a good idea. And let me explain to you why. And actually, if you keep sprinting, or someone saying it's okay to, don't worry about panicking for the first 2 years, that's the value. And I think that's the value of what you bring with my brand, my way.
I think that's actually, I don't think everything I do, like people's choices. I'm just trying to, it's always giving people options that if they still want to do on the indemnity and a 4-year, whatever, 2-year, whatever it is, that's fine. You just got to be, it's okay. I'm like, it's just playing devil's advocate, saying there is another way, there is another option, because a lot of people don't even know there's another option. Like you said, you did not know. Like brokers I speak to, I didn't know you could do that. Yeah. And
that's, GI was the one I didn't know. When I started to speak to when I started to speak to the big firms with GI, I was like, sorry, what? How much do you make a year on GI?
And that's like from the way that I get with that with mortgage brokers is when they get paid and they sort of, I did that GI policy a year ago. Yeah. And you got paid it out last year, and you're going to get paid out again and again and again. And like you said, going back to it, actually, the thing is it's all about creating your own legacy. And I think with the income side of things, if you've got this business that generates income, it has a value in terms of, but it's not just a mortgage business is not, like a GI and a protection business is worth more because of its guaranteed business coming in, kind of thing. So that's whereas with your mortgages, it's slightly different. So, but I think once you get to that mentality, this is what you're doing for the long term, which is the whole point of the My Brand, My Way. This is something you're going to be doing. It's not something you dip your toe in and coming out again in 6 months' time. This is what you're doing. So I've gone on enough and I've done enough videos about long-term career and I've done enough podcasts about long-term career. That's what you're doing. You're doing this for the long-term career. You're building your brand, building your client base, building your legacy. That's what you're doing. And you've got to be in this for the long term. And that's a long-term mentality. We're thinking, without even getting out of bed in the morning, I'm going to earn X amount today because that's coming in. And like I say, it's surprising how quickly you build it up. And that's why with like the financial advising stuff as well, like we work with people that refer to us from a financial point of view, and we pay them their referrals on the sort of the trail fees as well, because then they see the benefit of that as an introducer referring their clients to us, so kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they're not going to say to us and say, Craig, we're not working with you anymore, because actually they're earning whatever it is per month without doing anything. So they're not going to say and say, Craig, we're not working with you anymore. I say, right, thank you very much. We'll keep the trail fee now. Like that's our contract and kind of thing. So it's about having that long-term mentality with all this.
Smart businesses, genuinely, like the way I run my content business and my coaching business is like, my goal is, first, and this is where with what you're saying, and it's from meeting brokers and seeing the way they work. My goal was, 80% of my income came at the beginning came from coaching and consulting. This year has been 50%, but the goal is it to be 20%. 20% of my income should come from my actual work, and then 80% of it should come from other referral-based things, affiliate-based things, sponsorships and brand deals. And by the way, that's all possible for brokers as well. Like, I know it's about sponsorship and brand deals. Okay, I've told you not to do social media, but if you do social media, that comes. Like that, I've had a client who signed a brand deal recently in the industry, and that's come, and it's a significant amount of money. So it does, like, there are so many other ways than just doing the job that you think you can do. And I love. Yeah, and you'll only know that by working with someone like you, because you don't know, as you said, with your head's down, you're only thinking of this one thing. Then you open your eyes up.
That's what you're used to, and I get all that, and I understand why you've got that, and that for me is the people that I work with under the My Brand, My Way. Is then lifting their head up very quickly and saying, look, yes, you're building your brand, you're building your business, but actually just lift your chin up a little bit. There is a few other things that you can be doing to generate extra income, and these are the things you can be doing.
Generate 6 figures. No, I'm joking. So, mate, I think I don't know how we're going to end this one, because we're just chatting, but like, that can be the end, I think.
No, I think that's a perfect end, mate. I don't think we need to have a call to action or whatever you want to take it from me kind of thing. I think that's I think Jimmy Carr summed it up very well.
Yeah, I love it. All good?
All good.